Good afternoon, welcome to VANIK-IAS. We'll discuss current affairs of April and April 13. First is regarding Saudi Arabia's quest for strategic autonomy. Saudi Arabia, which has adopted an aggressive foreign policy in recent years, seeking its expanse in West Asia to be a dominant factor in West Asia. Its influence in the West Asia and rollback that Iran bitter rival is now following dramatic course correction. It is reaching out old rivals, holding talks with new enemies, and seeking balance between the great powers while all trying to transform the economy at home. If Saudi drive is autonomize its foreign policy and build regional stability through diplomacy holds, it can have serious implications in West Asia. So fact is that Saudi Arabia has strong historical animosity with Iran, because Saudi Arabia is a country with Sunni majority and Iran is a country with Shia majority. So there is long-standing conflict. There is huge number of terrorist organizations that are already exist in the West Asia by both the countries. So now Saudi Arabia, it is a major economy of the world. It's among the G20 only country. It is one of the country that is among the G20 major economy and ally of USA. It is changing its foreign policy. So it is reaching out to old rivals like Iran, to start developing certain. So it's so they are changing its foreign policy and developing dialogues with the regional countries. Okay. So how foreign policy is changing? For years, the main driver of Saudi foreign policy was kingdom's hostility towards Iran. This has resulted in proxy conflicts across the region. For example, Syria and Iran's only state in ally in West Asia. Saudi Arabia joined hands with the Gulf allies, allies of Turkey, in the West to bankroll an armed rebellion against President Bashar al-Assad. See what happens. ISIS is Sunni majority. ISIS, it is Sunni. Bashar al-Assad, who is the Syria government, that is Shia. Iran is Shia government. So Iran was supporting Syria, Bashar al-Assad. Saudi Arabia is Sunni government. Saudi Arabia is Sunni majority country. So they were against Syria because Syria is Shia majority. So that's why it was against President Bashar al-Assad. And similarly, USA as an ally of Saudi Arabia, USA also opposes Syria, that is Bashar al-Assad. USA says that we have to remove Bashar al-Assad because he is a dictator and we have to establish democracy there. But the fact is that USA has done the same thing in many countries like Iraq, where it has removed Saddam Hussein, established democracy. Democracy means establishing a puppet. Puppet means own people as the head of the state. So that such type of forceful democracy, that creates unstable situation in the West Asia. So that is the challenge. That is called as Arab Spring. Arab Spring means forceful democracy, establishment of democracy in the Middle East or West Asia region, or those areas in which there is dictatorship. So although democracy is better than dictatorship, the problem is that such type of practices are not successful. When people lack democratic ideals, when a country do not have sufficient democratic ideals, then the chances is that their democracy will not be established. Terrorism will grow. If today there is ISIS, the reason is that once upon a time Saddam Hussein is killed by the USA to establish forceful democracy. But that is not some successful democracy. The present situation of Iraq is worse than the time of Saddam Hussein. So it's not that always when we establish democracy, it will be good for the people. And just to establish democracy, it has destroyed the indigenous economy of Syria since long time. And the same thing happened in case of Iran as well. So establishing democracy, it is only when it is good, only when there is consent of the people. When you do it forcefully by Arab Spring, uh, that do not turn into any result. So that is all the efforts go in vain, and because whenever a particular region that lacks strong state or strong government authority, then non-state actors like terrorist organization they bonds, and various terrorist organizations now we can see in the Middle East region, and proxy conflicts are occurring across the region. Proxy conflicts means not direct war. Some terrorist organizations that are funded by the Saudi Arabia, they will create disturbance in Iran. Some terrorist organizations who are funded by Iran, they will create disturbance in Saudi Arabia. Such type of proxy conflicts by terrorists is continuing. In Yemen also, the capital of Sanas was captured by the Iran-backed Shia Houthi rebels in 2014. I have said Shia, Iran is Shia country. So Shia Houthi rebels, that is a terrorist group. They have captured in the capital Sana'a. And Saudi started a bombing campaign in March, and the Saudis started a bombing campaign in March 2015, which was not formally come to an end year yet. So it is still continuing. The conflict between the Houthi rebels in Yemen and the Saudis. One of the demands of the Saudis made in the Qatar, where it is imposed blockades on its small level 2017, was to sever ties with Iran. However, Qatar blockade came to an unsuccessful end in 2021. So Saudis made Qatar, demand Saudis made to Qatar is that it imposed blockade on smaller neighbor. That means in Yemen or in Iran, but that is unsuccessful. Recently, Saudi Arabia announced a deal after China made talks. China has mediated. Remember, Saudi-Iran intent talks. So Saudi Iran for the past time it has developed a talks between Saudi Arabia and Iran to normalize the diplomatic ties between Iran. Soon after, there are reports that Russia was mediating with talks between Saudi Arabia and Syria, which could later re-enter into Arab League before the next summit, scheduled May 2043 in Saudi Arabia. So, two things. One is Saudi Arabia developing relationship with Iran with the backed by China, and Saudi Arabia developing relationship with Syria backed by Russia, because Russia supports Bashar al-Assad. USA opposed Bashar al-Assad, the president of Syria. Earlier, the month of April 2023, Saudi Omani delegation travelled to Yemen to hold talks with the Houthi rebels for a permanent ceasefire. All these moves mark a decisive shift in the policy adopted by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman after he rose to the top echelons of the kingdom 2017. So Saudi Oman delegation travelled Yemen to hold talks with the Houthi rebels and for a permanent ceasefire. So now we can say that Saudi Arabia is taking leadership towards peace and tranquility in the West Asia region. It is holding talks with Iran. It is developing talks with Syria, and it is also they want to talks with the Houthi rebels for a permanent ceasefire. Permanent ceasefire means no firing or use of violence will be done. All these moves mark a decisive shift from the policy adopted by Crown Prince Mohammed. Okay. Aggressiveness makes way for diplomacy and loyal alliances, make room for pragmatic realignments. Aggressiveness makes way for diplomacy and loyal alliances, make room for pragmatic realignments. This is happening at a time when Saudi Arabia is also trying to balance between US and its target arms supplier Russia. The fact is that Saudi Arabia is ally of Russia, Saudi Arabia is ally of USA, and Russia is ally of Syria. So it's a complex situation. Russia is the OPEC plus partner. China is now superpower in the region. So in the foreign policy, generally in the West Asian foreign policy, earlier we was witnessing that USA is playing the dominant role regarding the behavior of US and Saudi Arabia. But now China and Russia are also intervening, and the dominant player are also China and Russia, because China has mediated the coordination between deal between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Next. These changes does not mean that the structure of Saudi Arabia relation with Iran are undergoing a transformation. The structure does not change. How the structure will change? Structure is based on Shia Sunni conflict. As long as Shias are inside as long as Shias are inside Saudi Arabia, Sunnis are inside Sunnis are inside Saudi Arabia, and Shias are inside Iran. Then as long as they are present there, this conflicts will continue definitely because of identity politics. In fact, Iran would continue to drive Saudi security concerns and strategic calculus. Yes, everybody has security concerns. Based on that, they maybe go towards peace. But Saudi Arabia's response to Iran's problem has shifted from strategic rivalry to proxy conflict. Response to Iran problem. What is the Iran problem? Iran problem is that the sanctions imposed by USA. As Saudi Arabia has not done proper things, so Iran has developed its terrorist organization. Okay. Next. A host of factors seem to have influenced this shift. The kingdom's recent regional bids were either unsuccessful or only partially successful. In Syria, Bashar al-Assad, backed by Russia and Iran, he won the civil war. In Yemen, Saudi intervention may have helped to prevent Houthis expanding for the reach beyond the Sana's north. The Saudi-led coalition, which itself is now fractured state, failed to outstorm capital. So they are dominating the capital Sana. The Houthis with their drones and short-range missiles now pose a serious security threat to the Riyadh, or that is Saudi Arabia. So Houthis are also present there, so they can become a serious security threat to Saudi Arabia. So every country has their own proxy non-state actors. Whenever they are used, and when everybody has non-state actors, everybody has security concerns. That's why Saudi Arabia is taking proactive stance. In parallel, the US priority is shifting away from West Asia. So the choices of Arabia is faced with either double down or failed bids seeking contain Iran in a region with no longer priority for the US. So this containing the Iran in a region, that is not longer a priority of USA, because USA is moving away from the global affairs and becoming state-centric or country-centric. The kingdom's most important is security partner undo the failed policies and reach out to Iran to establish new balance between the two. So now Saudi Arabia, as the USA, is not so much interested in the West Asia politics, because it has blamed a lot, and there is okay. Next. So now Saudi Arabia and Iran, they can develop new relationship, as USA is no more forcing Saudi Arabia to contain Iran. When China, which has good ties with both Tehran and Riyadh, offered mediate between the two, Saudis found that it is an opportunity and to seize it. So China has mediated the deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran. That is Tehran and Riyadh. Riyadh is the capital. Tehran is the capital of Iran. The US, which has 1,000 troops and military assets in the Gulf, including Fifth Fleet, would continue to play a major security role in the region. Right? It is disinterested about it. It has high presence military. So Saudi Arabia and US remains the largest defense supplier with the help of US and others. But at the same time, Saudi realized that US deprioritized order region, post-war order region of the region. So now, as USA is not so much interested, so it is changing. So we can say that the policy of Saudi USA is changing. What Saudi Arabia is trying to do is use that power vacuum is created, and Saudi Arabia wants to take that vacuum and dominate the foreign policy and try to become a regional hegemon. Next, the early signs of autonomization was visible in Saudi Arabia's recent decision. What a recent decision? That is reaching out to the how the rebels or creating a or trying to mediate between the Syria and Saudi Arabia, or trying to develop relationship between Iran and Saudi Arabia. So these are the early signs of recent decisions. Next, unlike most of the American allies, Saudi Arabia is refused to join anti-Russia sanctions. So Saudi refused to join anti-Russia sanctions. Right? What this is an important breakthrough, right? When you anti-Russia sanctions, when we talk about anti-Russia sanctions, what does it mean? The thing is that now there is a conflict between Ukraine and Russia, and American and USA want various sanctions, economic sanctions and diplomatic sanctions towards Russia, right? Sanctions means closing all the ties, no economic cooperation between two countries. And the fact is that although it is a strong ally of USA, Saudi Arabia is a strong ally of USA, still it is not joining those anti-Russia sanctions, and it has cooperation with Russia, and Russia is also mediating between Saudi Arabia and Syria. So the situation in the geopolitical level in the West Asia has changed. There is a changing in the foreign policy of Saudi Arabia. It is trying to become a regional hegemon, a responsible hegemon, and it is trying to develop good relationship with all the enemy countries, and it is trying to stabilize the politics of West Asia. And another thing is that for the most important thing is security perspective, and it is tried to the leadership of Mr. Salman is very good for the West Asia. This is what that is commented by scholars. Despite the protest from Washington, Saudi Arabia has joined their hands with Russia in effect of because Russia is a member of OPEC plus member, right? So despite there is sanction from Washington, still there is sanction from Washington with Russia, various sanctions are imposed. But the fact is that if Russia is completely sanctioned, there will be crash in the whole world economy, because the whole Europe that depends on Russian gas, and countries like India, they are dependent on Russian gas. West Asia is also dependent cooperation, require cooperation of Russia with respect to oil production. So they have joined the oil production, cut twice since the Ukraine war began, aimed at keeping the prices high, and that will help both the Moscow and Riyadh. So they have to cooperate. Why? What happens when they do not have cooperation and one particular country they reduce the prices? Then everybody will purchase from them. So now that is called as cooperation. Both of them will decide that we'll keep the oil prices at this particular price, so that they will be economically benefited. That there will be no competition, there will be cooperation. So next is that de-Americanization of West Asia is not Saudi goal. Here it is trying to exploit the Americans' weakness in the region, establish its own autonomy by building better ties with Russia and China, and amending relationship with regional powers without completely losing the US. So it is not the objective of Saudi Arabia that the USA should go out of the ground from the West Asia. The fact is that even if the USA, it is not forcefully, because USA is a good ally of Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia do not want to lose it, because the security situation of West Asia is very unpredictable. Anytime any non-state actor can develop, and USA has a huge military base in those regions. So the cooperation from USA is highly essential for Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia do not have a strong military presence in those regions. That's why it needs Saudi Arabia. So de-Americanization, it is not the objective of Saudi. The Saudi objective is that there should be peace in the region, so that there will not be any security threat towards the Saudi Arabia. Okay, next. So what are the implications of the region? What are the consequences of such type of action by Saudi Arabia or de-Americanization in the West Asia? So Saudi Arabia is normalization talks with the Syria and talks with the Houthis cannot be seen as separately from the bigger picture of South Iran reapproachment. South Iran reapproachment. See, if you are not talking with the Houthis in the Yemen, then there will not be good relationship between South and Iran. Because if you want to develop good relationship between two countries, you have to touch every aspect. Houthis in Yemen are supported by Iran. So unless and until you develop relationship with Iran and talk about Houthis, the problem is not going to solve. So Houthis are also in the talk, right? Houthis are also in the talk. Iran is also in the talk. That's why there is a comprehensive approach by the Saudi Arabia towards all the regional rivalries. If Syria joins Arab League, it would be an official declaration of victory of Mr. Assad. Syria joins Arab League, then the official declaration of victory of Mr. Assad. Now Saudi Arabia is approaching Syria, right? Russia is meditating. If Saudi Arabia develop relationship with Syria, that means relationship between Bashar al-Assad and Syria, Saudi Arabia will develop. But the problem is that since beginning, USA is opposing Bashar al-Assad. USA always have a stance to remove Bashar al-Assad from Syria. So that is the challenge. Even if, because as long as there is presence of USA presence will not decline. Although it is disinterested, but still the presence has not declined. It has a huge number of military forces in those regions. So if Syria joins the Arab League, then that official declaration of the victory of Mr. Assad, and that will be an insult to USA on its foreign policy. Assad in the civil war would help improve overall relationship between Syria and Arab countries. Then the relationship between Syria and other countries will flourish. If the Saudis and the Yemen war settlement with the Houthis, which will probably split of Yemen, because some areas are already in the control of Houthis who are Shia based, and some areas are already in the control of the Saudis. Now, so obviously settlement will happen or there will be division. Either Saudi Arabia would get a calmer border, while Iran would retain its existence influence in the Saudi backward. So Saudi Arabia will become slightly secure only when there is the stability in Yemen. But the path ahead is not very smooth. While Saudis are trying to build across Gulf stability, another part of West Asia remains tumultuous, which is evident in the Israel and Jerusalem, Alaska, Islam's third holiest place worship recently. So although these issues, like the Houthi issues in the Yemen, all the Iran issues, all the Syria issues, this may be solved with Saudi Arabia. But one of the biggest problems that the conflict between Israel and Palestine, that is not going to be solved. This triggered rocket attacks from Lebanon and Gaza in the return of Israel bombing in both the territories. Israel also keeps bombing Syria with immunity. The impact of escalation of tensions between Israel and Iran on cross Gulf stability remains to be seen. Israel is an ally of USA. Israel is an ally of USA. Iran is enemy of USA. So definitely Israel and Iran, they have animosity. And Israel is a very strong defense power, and it is multiple times it is bombing the Haza areas. Why it is bombing the Haza areas? Because there is huge number of terrorists in those regions, right? Huge number of terrorists are present in the Haza Palestinian terrorists. They are present in those regions and they are creating instability in the Gulf region. So although this problem is not addressed by the present steps. Another challenge before the Saudi Arabia is to retain the course of autonomy without irking the US beyond a point. So they have to also make USA dissatisfied. They have to keep good relationship with USA. As long as they have to keep good as long as there should be steps toward regional autonomy. Because if Saudi Arabia develop relationship with Iran, obviously US is going to be dissatisfied. If Saudi Arabia develop relations or Yemen develops relationship with for example, Bashar al-Assad joins Arab League, then the US will be dissatisfied. So Another challenge is that USA should not be dissatisfied because the world is unipolar and US is the most powerful country. USA would not be happy with Syria. Next, in post-war Asia, the US had been part of almost all major realignments, either through force or talks, from the Suez War to the Abraham Accords. Abraham Accord means the Abraham Accord is a accord that is the last year before 1.5 crore, that is a deal signed between UAE and the Israel. The first time any Arab country signed deal with Israel, that is Abraham Accord. In all these things, USA has mediated, but for the first time we see that it is China has mediated between Saudi Arabia and Iran, and Russia is getting mediated between Iraq and Saudi Arabia. So such type of developments are new, and that is a challenge that may be upset USA with respect to Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia do not want to upset USA as it is a long-term ally and stable ally. But now when China and Saudi Arabia is mediating talks between rivals successfully in Saudi Arabia, a trusted ally is busy building its own autonomy. So Saudi Arabia is now want to maintain strategic autonomy. The US, despite huge military presence in the region, is reduced to being spectator. So USA, despite being huge military presence in those regions, it is just becoming a spectator. So it is already role in the West Asia politics is reducing at present time because Saudi Arabia started approaching the enemy nations unlike the past time. How Tamil Nadu and the center have locked horns over the issue of online gaming. That the issue of online gaming has resurfaced between Tamil Nadu and center. From privatization efforts to disagreement over the centralized market of the for electricity, there have been many instances ever-growing tussle between the center and various states. One thing is privatization. Most recently, perhaps a new frontier was added to that. The Tamil Nadu government received its governor's approval for a bill banning online gambling just one business day after the center notified fresh rules for online gaming. The state assembly has passed the Tamil Nadu prohibition of online gaming and regulation online games ordinance in 2020 October 2022. However, in early March 2023, governor returned the ordinance for reconsideration. Few weeks later, the assembly re-adopted the bill and sent it to the governor once again. The state laws of online gaming are pain point what many industry are pursuing. They have also raised the concerns of the military and Minister of Electronics, which is now the nodal agency for the sector. They are also likely to challenge the Tamil Nadu's major course once it is notified by the state government. So what is the project? What is the problem? Problem is we have residuary power. Residuary power lies with the state, with the central government, because online gaming, such type of power was not earlier present during the making of the constitution. So that is why there is a conflict between the two states whose power will prevail. Because central government and state government both have already made their own laws. So that's why that lead to conflict. So there is also like to challenge Tamil Nadu's measure in the court. So they may go to court. The conflict between state and center may arise. What is Tamil Nadu's law in online gaming? The bill prohibits online gaming. And online games are chance paid by money for other stakes. So what happens? Once you ban something, then there is also economic loss. So it should be regulated so that it will not should be misused. That is what central government wants. It's a industry. Online gaming is a big industry in which you cannot close. While specifically names Rummy and Poker are games of chance, it defines online games of chance as those where both an element of chance and skill involved. The element of chance dominates over the elements of skill. That is a game. Game means eminence of chance. There is unpredictable also. Right? There is unpredictable within that. Unpredictability also exists in case of online gaming. It is not always skill. Just because somebody is skilled, that doesn't mean he will win. And the same thing happens in case of chess also. So online gaming also that unpredictability that lead to, for example, betting issues or gambling issues. Next, so states proposed gaming authority will identify games of chance and recommend them to be included in the schedule of prohibited games. So wherever there is games of chance or games of skill, just by skilling you cannot win. So there is also some proportion of chance. So wherever there is some chance, that will lead to gambling. And anybody can, when there is gambling, anybody can be master of the property. So state has proposed online games identify the chance and that has prohibited them. It is worth noting that state's governor gives his assent to the bill hours after the legislative assembly resolution against him for indefinitely holding the several bills. Passed a resolution. So that's why they have passed a resolution. Next, online game case center versus Tamil Nadu. Aside from the state assembly's resolution against governor, the timing of the development also particularly significant given that assent is to the bill just days after center notified. Another thing that his assent to the bill comes at just day after center notified the amendments to Information Technology Act. So now, as it is residual power, then central government has the power. And after central government has already make a law or already make some rules, how can state government make some law? How can they ban it? Because already central government, according to Minister of State Electronics, state governments regulating online gaming is not required anymore as the IT rules are online gaming are already notified. Because online IT rules, online games are already notified, so there is no jurisdiction or there should no need for state governments to intervene in the so far as online gaming is concerned. In a meeting with Methi, day after amendment 80 rules notified, online gaming companies have raised concerns around state governments passing competing legislations which could potentially go against the norms prescribed under the center's rules. Yes, the problem is that so there may be some competing legislations which would go against the norms prescribed by center rules, so that is the problem. Methi believes that while gambling is the state subject, activity that occurs in internet including online gaming is exclusive domain falls in the exclusive domain. Now see, online gambling is a state subject, but online gambling, online games, there comes a residual power. Residual power lies in the center. That's why the conflict arises. Whether it says that it is my complete jurisdiction or it is the jurisdiction of the state. Who will make law with respect to it? Then prelims. Mahatma Jyotiba Phule. Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi has paid tribute to great social reformer Mahatma Jyotiba Phule in his birth anniversary. Mahatma Jyotiba Phule is an anti-caste movement. He has contributed anti-caste movement in southern India, right? Yes, Mahatma Jyotiba Phule. Jyotirao Govinda Phule was an Indian social activist, thinker, anti-caste social reformer, writer from Maharashtra. His work extended many fields, including eradication of untouchability, caste system, and efforts educating women and exploited caste people. So Mahatma Jyotiba Phule has worked for eradication of untouchability. His wife Savitribai Phule were pioneers of women's education in India. Phule started first girls' school in 1948 at the Tatya Sahib Bhides residence in Mindawada. So in 1948, she has established first girls' school. She is the first women teacher of India, Savitribai Phule. His work included abolition of untouchability in the caste system as well as efforts to educate women and exploited caste people. Later, Phule established schools for children from the untouchable castes. And also called that is Mahar and Monk. He has schools for Mahar students and Monk students. In 1863, he established a home for pregnant women, Brahmin widows, to give birth secure environment. Right. Savitribai Phule. To avoid infanticide, she established orphanage home. In this regard, he has brought to the first Hindu to establish an orphanage for the needy children. So he has also established orphanage. Jyotirao decided to build a common bathing tank outside his house in 1968 to demonstrate his embracing attitude towards all humans and all desire to dine with everyone regardless of caste. That is how Jyotirao Phule has done it. So every caste they will eat with them, every caste will bath with them. That is what he want to preach. He founded Satya Sodhak Samaj, Society for Truth Seekers. With his followers in order to achieve equal rights for the people of the exploited areas. So his organization is Satya Sodhak Samaj. People of all religions and castes are welcome to organization for the upliftment of the upper castes. So what are the books? Phule is regarded as the pivotal figure in Maharashtra social reform movements. In 1988, Maharashtrian social activist Vithal Rao Krishnaji Bhandekar bestowed honorary Mahatma title to Mahatma Jyotirao Phule. So Maharashtra social activist Vithal Rao Krishna Bhandekar given him the title of Mahatma. Was published work Tritiya Ratna, Manav Muhammad Abhang and Gulam Giri, Sarvajanik Satyadharma Pustak. That is books released by Mahatma Jyotirao Phule. Next, what is UN Democracy Fund? UN Democracy Fund. India is founding member of UNDF. Has no objection to the fund for giving grants to NGOs funded by George Soros. India founding of UN has no objections, while he is put on the watch list in India. Right, George Soros and his NGO, and he is put in the watch list because he has commented certain things. UNDF is created by UN Secretary General Kofi Annan 2005. UN National General Assembly Trust Fund to support democratization of efforts around the world. It was welcomed by General Assembly and outcome document 2005 World Summit. UNDF subsidiary subsists entirely on voluntary contribution from the government. Right. The large majority of UNDP funds go to local civil society organizations to strengthen democracy. The composition, right? So this is about United Nations UNDF. Then providing grants. What is the job of UNDS? It can provide grants of $1 lakh to $3 lakh support initiatives in area of electoral processes, empowerment, freedom of information, law and human rights, civil society interaction with the government, youth engagement. For all these things, it provides the loan. India and USA are instrumental in the establishment of UN democracy. Founded in 2005. India and USA. India contributing 5 million to the fund in early years. However, India's funding to India has dwindled since 2012. So it has reduced. Initially, it was giving around $5 million every year to that organization. Okay. Next, Cyber Surakshit Bharat Initiative. National E-Governance Division has organized 35 Chief Information Security Officers deep dive training program that under the Cyber Security Bharat Initiative. That is conceptualized with a mission to spread awareness about cyber crime, right? About against cyber crime. It is launched by Ministry of Electronics, and it will be done by private PPT model, that is private public partnership model. Okay, so it is a question. What is the relation between ethics and aptitude? Now, what is the moral character affect? How does a person's moral character affect their ability to make rational decisions and act as the best interest of the society? So try to write this question, and we will see the prelims questions. Okay, so first question, which the following cyber it aims to spread awareness about cyber crimes and building capacity for the measurements across all the government and departments. Yes, that is Cyber Surakshit Bharat. It is the first public-private partnership of its kind. Will leverage the expertise from IT industry and cybersecurity. This is right. It has launched by Ministry of Information Brokers. You know, this is Ministry of Electronics. Right, Ministry of Electronics, right? And Information Technology. So next, it is 1 and 2 options will be right. With reference to UN Democracy Fund, consider the following statements. India has been a member of UNIDEF Advisory Board since the funding of the inception. Yes, this is right. The fund entirely voluntary contribution from member states. Yes. The India's contribution to the fund have decreased recent years. Yes, since 2012, India's fund has decreased every year. UN Democracy Fund. According to Jyotiba Phule, which of the following statements is correct? Jyotiba Phule is one of the earliest leader of non-Brahmin movement. Yes, earliest leader during the reform movements. He founded Satya Sodhak Samaj, which supported the upliftment of women. The word Dalit for expert classes was first used by him. Dalit. This is the consensus which supported upliftment of women, displaced classes and caste. No, it has not supported the caste system. It has opposed caste system. So second statement will be wrong. The word Dalits for displaced classes was used by him. Satta Seth Karyacha Asud was written by him. So there are 1, 3, 4 options are the right. With respect to Arab League, it is a regional organization consists of Asian Islamic countries only. Arab League, this is wrong. Whenever you see only, then statements are wrong. Syria is the founding members of the Arab League and which participation has been suspended since the November 2021. Yes, second statement is right. Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology (MeitY) has notified rules regarding the online gaming on information technology 2021. With reference to consider the following statement: the new rule defines online game as a game that offered in the internet and accessible by user by computer resource or intermediary. It is right. The new rules online gaming prohibit any game that involves betting and wagering. Yes, any game that prohibit betting. That is right. The new rules provide for the establishment of online gaming organization for regulating the unethical practices involved in the gaming. Establishment of intergaming organization. No, this is wrong. There is no such intergaming organization. So 1 and 2 options will be right. Suhela Wildlife Sanctuary is seen in the news. It is within Uttar Pradesh. Suhela Wildlife Sanctuary, it's in Uttar Pradesh. With reference to biomethanation, consider the following statements. Which are the following statements incorrect? Which are the incorrect? Biomethanation process is composting and landfill and not suitable for the waste containing less degradable matter. This is also right. So which are the following statements are incorrect? Neither 1 and 2 are incorrect with respect to biomethanation. It is not feasible, right? National Center for Excellence in Technology for Internal Security. It aimed at developing advanced technology solutions across the world. How it can work across the world? So this is wrong. Next is Indian Initiative IIT Bombay Ministry of Electronics Technology on a flagship digital India program. Yes, second statement is right. It cannot be across the world. It can be only in India. Miyawaki method, which is often mentioned in the news. It is afforestation. It is Japanese method of afforestation. Miyawaki method. So A is the answer. So the lectures ends here, and like this video and share this video and subscribe to VANIK-IAS. Thank you.